Hi everybody, today I'm going to be talking about my Japanese Type 99 Arisaka rifle. Now there's already plenty of other videos about the history of the Arisaka and the variants thereof, so I'm not going to cover all that in this video. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of this one and the specific features that are present on this rifle. This is based on the Mauser bolt action, and you can definitely see the influence here of having the Mauser style extractor that it has. This bolt head looks pretty much just like a Mauser, and the way that this bolt release works exactly just like a Mauser. However, the one difference about the rifle is that it's a cock-on closing design, so similar to the British style, you actually have to push against the spring pressure to be able to close the bolt, and then after you fire it, it makes your extraction easier because you're not a cock-on opening action like the way that the K98 Mauser would be. The safety is actually back here on this kernel knob. You would push this in and turn it. This makes it safe, also prevents you from opening the bolt, and then to fire, or to be able to open the bolt again, you would turn it back to the left. The kernel knob is one indication of what's called a last-ditch rifle. Later in the war, when they were pressed for resources and pressed for time, they would drop the kerneling on the back of the cocking knob, and they would also drop the anti-aircraft sights. They flip up sights, and they went to a simple receiver-mounted sight. This rifle, of course, not a last-ditch rifle because it has those features, but interesting to note that it does not have the part right here for a monopod. There would actually be a milled piece at the bottom of this lower band that had a hole through it, and through that hole you put a wire monopod, which was one of those ideas that they had that never really worked out in the field. But by the time they made this rifle, they had stopped doing that. You can kind of get an indication of when the rifle was made by looking at these markings right here. There would be a factory code or series code on here, and I did look these up, but I'm not going to talk about it all in this video. I'll put that information in the video description so you can read about that if you want, but that gives you an idea where and when the rifle was actually made by these markings here. The markings on top of the receiver, of course, right here says Type 99 or 99 model, which just identifies this as a Type 99 Arisaka. And then here is the Royal Chrysanthemum. Most of the time, the Royal Chrysanthemum is completely obliterated off the rifle and ground down, but in this case it's still visible with just two hash marks. So I feel lucky in that aspect to be able to see that. As I mentioned, the anti-aircraft sights, they would be flipped up here, and then you would have a provision. There would be an arm here that came down and had tick marks on it, which the idea was that they would use that to shoot down overhead low-flying aircraft. Of course, that never really worked out. I don't know. But the arms are pretty fragile and they get broken off a lot. And it's common to see these to where the arms are missing. One of the innovative features that they had was actually a chrome-lined bolt head and chrome-lined bore. And I don't think I can get it in front of the camera right now. I'll have to roll in a picture. But if you could see down in there, you'd be able to see that there was chrome lining all the way down on the inside. And you can actually see it coming out on the end of the muzzle here, but chrome lining through the rifling, through the inside of the bore, which is pretty good. It's kept this rifle in very good shape, even though they had corrosive ammunition back then. Rifling's very clean inside with that mirror finish of the chrome. There's one last thing I wanted to talk about, and I've saved the best for last. That is the bayonet. This is the bayonet I got with the rifle. There's no way of knowing if this is the bayonet that was originally issued with it, but it is pretty cool. It has the scabbard here with the leather holder, and then the bayonet itself with the curved hook. I think this is called the quillion or something like that. This is supposed to be something important about the fact that it's curved earlier in the war versus later in the war. Maybe somebody who knows more about it can tell me. It's pretty stinking long. You're talking about 20 inches overall length on that bayonet from tip to the bottom of the hilt, and then when you add it to the rifle, you're adding 15 inches of length past the end of the muzzle when you put it on the rifle. So you can imagine this thing is pretty much a sword unto itself. When you put that on here, like this, it locks into place on the lug underneath with this push button, and now you're talking about a rifle with bayonet combination that is pretty much 60 inches, that is 5 feet, right at 59 or 60 inches. So that's pretty crazy right there. Imagine if this thing was sharpened up, it pretty much makes a one-handed sword all by itself there. It's pretty good hacking right there if you had that sharpened up, so that's pretty cool. There's one thing that's always been a mystery to me on these Arisakas is that the receiver bridge is set up for a stripper clip. It's got a stripper clip guide here, and this is a stripper clip that I have that I use on my American rifles, the Springfield 1903 and the 1917 Eddystone. And the case dimensions are close enough to where I can use the stripper clip with the 7.7 Jap ammunition. But from a historical perspective, I've never seen what the actual Japanese Army did. I've never seen a picture of an actual stripper clip for 7.7 Jap ammo. I've never seen an original stripper clip from an Arisaka. And I'm hoping that maybe somebody who sees this video can chime in and kind of tell me or point me to a picture what they really used, or if they even used them at all, because I've never seen it. And everybody I've asked who collects military stuff has never seen one either. So the provision for stripper clip, just like the Mauser and all the other designs at the time, but I've never actually seen one for 7.7 Jap. Now I'm going to talk about the ammunition. This, of course, takes the 7.7 Jap ammunition, and here are some dummy cartridges that I made up. They've been cross-drilled for safety to show that these are not loaded ammunition. But I was unable to find any factory 7.7 Jap locally anywhere I could find. It's kind of an obscure round, and this is the only rifle that fires it. What I ended up doing was taking 270 Winchester cartridges and forming them into 7.7 Jap by using a full-length sizing die. I would form the shoulder down, and then I had to trim the end because the original 270 Winchester was too long. And then from there I was able to reload it as a 7.7 Jap cartridge. Now, these went through an initial fire forming. I put a light load in them, not these because they're dummies, but I'll show you some of the brass that I have. These right here, they've been fired in this rifle. I loaded them with a light load and then fired them to do a fire forming, and they came out just fine. I don't have any case split necks or anything like that. Of course, it was a light load, and I'm not going to fire real hot loads in this rifle. It's just for historical purposes. So if you want to have ammo for it, you pretty much need to reload or be rich. It takes a 311 diameter bullet, which is the same diameter you get on a 303 British, and it's in the same class as far as the power it generates, the same caliber as the 306 and 303 British and 7.62 full power cartridges, so it's definitely a stout cartridge on that regard. I'm going to roll in some range footage and you can take it from there. If you want to know more about the Arisaka, there's plenty of other references online, so I'm not going to go into all that stuff here. I hope you've enjoyed this look at this piece of history from World War II, and enjoy the range footage. Just for kicks, let's try the 200-yard gong. I don't know what the sight would be to hit that, but there it is. Gotta go up just a little bit higher. Ooh, it's hot, 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 hot. A little bit higher than that. I'm not quite sure what I need to do to hold 200 on this. I'll try 150 again, it'll hold higher. These are very light loads, so it's kind of hard to get a sense for how much I need to hold over or hold under. Alright, last 3 shots.